Can people be equal? A man once said, all people are equal from birth, but this equality disappears after birth. We are shown a girl asking a guy to give up his seat because it's a preferential seat. The blonde replies that there is no law that says he must give way. The grandmother thanks the girl for trying to beat her to the seat, but the girl didn't give up and asked others, and one of the women responds. Kodo Ikusei High School, a government development for the younger generation. Shaten meets a girl from the bus. She saw the one glaring at her, for she thought she didn't want to give up her seat because of the extra attention. It turns out that the rainbow-eyed girl didn't want to give up her seat because she didn't want to. At the welcome meeting, it turns out they'll be in the same class. They're also sitting next to each other. The classmates decide to get to know everyone. Meet Hirakato Yosuke, Kashido Kekio. Our hero wants to try it himself, for now the hierarchy in the class is being established, but he thinks that he will probably be laughed at or scared. While he's thinking, it's his turn. Ayanokoji Kiyotaka, that's his name. Suddenly one of the kids pops up who thinks it's all kindergarten, but he settles down as their leader walks in. Chibashirasaya. She gives them the rule book. It turns out that their freedom outside the school will be limited, and they will live in a dormitory, but the school is completely autonomous. The currency here is points, with which they can buy anything they want. The schoolchildren have been credited with a large amount of money, from which no one is shocked. While shopping in the store, Ayanokoji meets his classmate again. He wants to get along with her and asks her name. Harukido Suzumi. During their conversation, a classmate meets a high school student on the street. In the end, everything goes without incident. The class has already made groups of friends, but Kiyotaka still hasn't made friends with anyone. This is noticed by Suzumi, but he tells her that she's alone too. In response, it turns out that she's fine with that. Shuten wants to go to the cafeteria, and on the way he meets Kashida. She says that the yellow-eyed man seems to get along with her roommate, and she asks him to help her get along with Harukido, because she wants to be friends with everyone. Every student in the class is busy doing their own thing, but the teacher doesn't care. The black-haired girl emphasizes this absurdity. Our hero invites her to a cafe, for he does not have the courage to go there alone. When they arrive at the cafe, Kekio approaches them. The rainbow-eyed girl immediately wants to leave, for since the blonde is here, she's not needed. Plus it all seems strange, for at that table sat the girls from Class D. They came here after school, means it hasn't been more than a couple minutes. The kid reveals the truth that it's all a setup. Kashido offers the girl his friendship again, but the girl says she doesn't need it, she's never felt lonely. The blonde apologizes to Ayanokoji. As they walk down the road they discuss the strangeness of the 100,000 points they were awarded. It turns out that the students have long since spent all their money, and they do nothing in class, are late and truant. The 1st of May is approaching, and that is the day they were supposed to get their points, but they have received nothing. When I ask the teacher, she says that they are all stupid, all their grades count, and they will get 0 points this month. This school is judging them by their servanthood, which means their class is garbage. The students, even after what happened, are lounging carefree in the pool. As it turns out, they have been told about the ES system, which makes them seem like nobodies. It evaluates everyone in real time, so they have 0 points. The teacher is surprised, because no one has lost points like that in a month. One class point is assigned 100 points to a student in the class. At the beginning of the year each class had 1,000 points, they lost them all. To get them back they need to get more points than the C class, then they will take their place and they will take theirs. The closest opportunity will be on the test paper, but the results of the previous tests are dismal, so next time if a student gets a bad score, they will be expelled. Therefore, every classmate must become better. Suzumi notices that Ayanokoji has a pumped-up body, even though he says he hasn't worked out anywhere. Kekio invites a girl to swim, but she refuses. Hirato cheers up the class and suggests that everyone make sure they can get points on the next test, but their classmate has a different opinion. In the office, Harukido invites Kiyotaka to lunch and also discusses the situation in class. Their classmates have already made a strategy. They will prepare together for the test, but their 3 classmates decline the offer. In order for them not to fail and gain points, the girl proposes to form a group to help the 3 misfits. Her goal is to rise to an A grade. Shaten doesn't want to be dragged into this, but because of the expensive lunch and that incident at the cafe, he owes her. It's his job to persuade the hapless ones. Having tried, those again refuse. So he decides to ask for help from the blonde, who of course doesn't refuse him, but asks him to join their group in return. After talking to Kushida, the 3 classmates agree. The next day, the 3 don't like the way the black-haired girl teaches and leave. The blonde says she doesn't want to leave them, so helping them would be better. Suzumi thinks that Kashido only wants to hinder her. From such words she also walks away. Going out in the evening, Kiyotaka sees his acquaintance talking to the student council president, who is her brother. She says that she can reach a grade, but her brother tells her to leave the school because she has no rights or abilities. He wants to hit her, but Ayanokoji arrives just in time. Ayanokoji is the only one who has scored 50 points on each of the entrance exams, and the president knows him. Off goes the brother, telling his sister to try harder than ever before. Here comes the day of the tests, and everyone from Class D gets high scores. Rainbow-eyed asks Ayanokoji how he did it. 3 days before the test, Sudo got himself in trouble again, but thanks to another student, it all turned out okay. Shaten watched it and afterward tried him again to guide his classmate in the right direction. The red-haired man was unyielding and went to practice. After it, he met Suzumi, who gave him the notes. For 2 days. Our hero asked the blonde for help. Approached a graduate from Class D. In return for money, they want the answers to the tests of 2-year-olds. At first he didn't want to, for the price of 10,000 points did not suit him, but thanks to Kekio they were able to persuade him. As the answers came, the kid decides that he won't give them to them right away, but the day before the test, so that they can still prepare. Also, it will be for everyone to know that Kashido got the answers. The day before, the girl hands out the answers to the entire class. On the day of the test, Sudo fails one test. The teacher says he's waiting for him in the teacher's lounge after class. The classmates want to fix it, but they can't. Shuten decides to talk to Chibashira. He asks if there is equality in society. Saya says no, and the yellow-eyed man agrees. However, humans have reason. The rules are enforced the same everywhere, so he decides to buy back one test score. The price was a high 100,000 points. Suddenly the black-haired woman gets involved and decides to add points to our hero, arguing that they can get the prize money if they lend a helping hand. Exceptions are cancelled, and the teacher points out that never before in history has a D class become a C class. In the evening, the guy says that Class A already has 1,400 points, there's no way to get to them, but the girl says she doesn't care and will get there. Also, Ayanokoji remarks that the rainbow-eyed girl lowered the scores on purpose, for she knew Sudo wouldn't get the points. A party is held in our hero's room to celebrate his success in the exams. They ask him how he managed to persuade the teacher to cancel Sudo's expulsion, and he replies that Suzumi did it. Everyone has left except the blonde, so she asks if the yellow-eyed one likes Harukido, who says she's his friend, more like a desk mate. She leaves saying she's going to her place, but when she follows her, it turns out she's gone street. Kekio says that if he tells anyone, she will accuse him of attempted rape. Class B is happy to have earned a good amount of points, from which they should have points on their card soon. Ayanokoji is waiting for the elevator, and upon opening it there are 2 of his classmates. One of them has a split personality. When they get out, they meet Ichinos, who wonders if their class has received points on their account. Due to an error, so all score transfers were cancelled. In the evening, the brown-haired man meets up with the violet-eyed girl, who as it turns out has a date, for she found a letter in her locker, so she asks him to pretend to be her boyfriend. A girl comes in who thinks he's her boyfriend, but he admits he's just a friend and brings Ichinos to give her a proper answer. The little girl runs away in tears. The blonde girl apologizes. When they arrive at the classroom, it turns out that an unpleasant situation has happened. Sudo has been complained about to the school administration by 3 members of the basketball team. As they say, he attacked and beat them up, but the red-haired man says it was self-defense. Words are not enough and witnesses are needed. And at the end of the week, the student council will be evaluating the behavior of the C class, which will affect the entire class, and Sudo could face punishment. Many classmates feel that the red-haired man is only hurting them. The 2 heroes discuss the situation. Ayanokoji says that Suzumi needs to stop him from being expelled, for they don't know how the system decides if a class gets to elite status. Perhaps they need to make sure there are no expulsions. Yosuke suggests that they team up and watch each other's backs. First we need to find witnesses. The search was unsuccessful. Ichinos comes along. Unfortunately she doesn't know anything either, but she offers to help the B class. A little later, the girl is approached by her classmate Kanzakir. Together they post notices on all the school's information screens. According to the report, one of the attackers was a daredevil and the other 2 are professional basketball players. It was impossible for Sudo to beat them without getting injured himself. The blonde tried to pay, but couldn't do it. Kiyotaka offered his help. When paying he saw her bill and was surprised. In the evening, after arriving home, the yellow-eyed man's classmates turned out to be his classmates, and a little later Harukido approached them and shared her information. Turns out there was a witness and it was Sakura from their class. They tried to reach her, but it didn't work. Turns out it was the girl with glasses who didn't look at Kushido when she asked about the witnesses. But that still wasn't enough. Kekio goes to the brown-haired girl again, asking what the black-haired girl had. He explains to her that Sudo has already cast suspicion on himself due to his bad behavior. Kayashido says she'll talk to Sakura. The next day she tries to do so, but the pink-haired girl runs away, saying she doesn't want anyone to know about her image. One day, Sakura, Kekio and Kiyotaka come to the mall to fix the camera of a girl with glasses. The guy is called here to help the blue-eyed girl with the store employee, for the guy is so nasty that he makes her shiver. Successfully got the camera repaired. The blonde walks away, at which time the pink-haired girl asks Ayanokoji for advice on what to do, and Ayanokoji answers as she sees fit. But she says she's afraid to keep silent. In response, the guy tells her that then she'd better let go of those thoughts and live for herself. When Kekio arrives at the yellow-eyed man's room, he shows her pictures of a girl who looks a lot like their classmate, at which point a message arrives from her saying that she can help with Sudo's situation. At school, it turns out that they've already scheduled a day for the red-haired girl to audition, today after school. Because of the brother who is here, Harukido won't be able to reach his full potential. The case seems one-sided to everyone, but thanks to a good physical stimulus, Suzumi gets involved. After asking the injured, the rainbow-eyed girl invites Sakura as a witness. She is pressured to testify, but she has proof in the form of photos. But it's still not enough, so they propose to suspend Sudo for 2 weeks and the victims for 1 week. This is not bad, because he could have been suspended for a month, but the black-haired girl does not agree, because she believes that her classmate is completely innocent and the whole thing was set up by the false victims. The president decides that he will make his ruling tomorrow. If he gets no proof of C-class guilt or lack thereof on their part, he will make an exception. Suzuna will go all the way. As she leaves, her brother leaves the office, telling Sakura that if she can't prove it, it's a lie. Ayanokoji says he believes her. In response, the president says since you believe her, you can prove it.